It all began with what looked like an ordinary ride in an elevator. A young woman stepped inside, scrolling on her phone, clearly keeping to herself and minding her own business. Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like, and share this video. But little did she know, she wasn't alone. Another passenger slipped in at the last second, a man whose intentions were anything but decent. At first glance, it looked like just two strangers sharing a ride, yet in those few seconds, an entire story of intimidation, danger, and shocking consequences unfolded. And it all happened in front of an elevator's silent camera. The man stood close, too close. His eyes weren't focused on the floor buttons or even on his phone. Instead, he tilted his head, leaning forward just slightly, peering where he had no right to look. The woman adjusted herself, clearly uneasy, but chose to remain calm. Elevators are cramped, after all. Maybe she thought he was just clumsy. Maybe she hoped he'd stop. But he didn't. Within moments, his body language shifted from careless to predatory. He stepped closer, almost invading the little box of personal space she had left. The surveillance camera captured everything. He leaned just behind her, his gaze now fixated on her phone, then lower. She shifted again, hugging the opposite wall, but he followed. That was the first moment anyone watching could sense that this wasn't an innocent mistake. This man wasn't just standing there, he was hunting for an opportunity. Seconds passed, and he made his move. His arm reached out, casually draping across her shoulder as if he knew her, as if he had the right. That was when her body stiffened. She didn't scream, she didn't panic. Instead, something inside her clicked. She turned not out of fear, but with sharp precision, the kind of reaction that comes from instinct mixed with training. In less than 5 seconds, the tone of that elevator ride changed entirely. The woman, small and delicate-looking compared to the man, exploded with energy. She swatted his arm away like it was nothing, pivoted on her foot, and struck him with a clean right hook across his face. The man staggered, stunned by the force. Before he could even process what was happening, her knee came up hard, catching him in the gut. He gasped, bent over, and then came the final blow, a swift kick that sent him sprawling into the corner. The once confident predator was now a crumpled heap on the floor. His plan to intimidate, to touch, to harass ended in 4 brutal moves. The woman, without a word, brushed her hands, straightened her shirt, and stood calmly as the elevator doors slid open. She stepped out like nothing had happened, leaving him behind, humiliated and groaning in pain. When the video hit the internet, it spread like wildfire. People couldn't stop replaying the moment the tables turned. Here was a woman, petite and soft-spoken in appearance, completely dismantling a man twice her size who thought she'd be an easy target. To many, it looked almost too perfect. The speed, the precision, the way she walked away without so much as breaking a sweat, it seemed choreographed, like something out of a movie. Was it real? Or was it staged for clicks and views? The truth, however, was even more fascinating than the video itself. The woman eventually revealed her identity. Du Chao, a TV host in Beijing with a surprising background. She wasn't just a media personality. She was also a martial arts enthusiast who spent years practicing Muay Thai and training with her partner, a professional fighter. Suddenly, everything about that elevator footage made sense. To the untrained eye, her moves seemed impossibly smooth. But to anyone who's trained in combat sports, it was clear this woman had discipline, reflexes, and confidence carved from hours in the gym. Yet skeptics weren't convinced. Online forums erupted with debate. Too clean, some argued. No way, she just knocks him out like that in a real situation. Others, however, praised her. Finally, a creep got what he deserved. That's what happens when you mess with the wrong woman. The video didn't just entertain, it sparked conversations worldwide about harassment, self-defense, and what it truly means to stand up for yourself. Du Chao herself later confirmed that it was indeed real. I was minding my own business, but he forced a reaction from me, she explained in an interview. She wasn't trying to prove a point or put on a performance. She simply reacted. And that reaction, captured on camera, became one of the most powerful viral lessons of the year. Never underestimate someone, no matter how small or quiet they may seem. But what many don't realize is that this story doesn't end with just a viral video. The aftermath, the debates, and the hidden truths that followed make the tale even more gripping. This wasn't just a random elevator encounter. It was a turning point that sent ripples far beyond that small enclosed space. After the video spread like wildfire, it wasn't just random internet users who paid attention. News outlets picked it up, headlines blared across Asia and beyond, and commentators debated whether this was an empowering moment of self-defense or a suspiciously polished performance. Either way, people were talking. Some were fascinated by the speed of the takedown. "It looks like something out of a Jackie Chan film," one viewer commented. Others were less amused. "If this is staged, it cheapens real stories of harassment," another wrote. But the majority didn't care whether it was raw footage or not. They loved the symbolism. For once, the victim wasn't left humiliated. For once, the predator got exactly what he deserved. What made this story so captivating was how quickly it shifted the narrative we often see in similar cases. Too many times, harassment stories end with silence, shame, or unanswered questions. But here, inside a tiny, dimly lit elevator, the script was flipped. The hunter became the hunted. The one who thought he was in control was left flat on his back, clutching his face in disbelief. For Du Chao, the woman at the center of it all, the fame was both surprising and overwhelming. She wasn't looking for attention. In fact, she hesitated to even confirm she was the woman in the video. But once she did, she became something more than just a TV host. She became a symbol. Women flooded her inbox with messages of admiration. Many said they wished they had the courage or the training to respond like she did. Some admitted that they had been in similar situations but froze, unable to react. That perhaps was the real power of the video. Beyond the kicks and punches, it sparked a conversation about preparation and awareness. Because Du Chao wasn't lucky. She was trained. She was ready. And that made all the difference. Meanwhile, the man in the footage, whose identity was never officially confirmed, reportedly avoided making any public statements. Whether out of shame or because authorities got involved, no one knows for certain. But one thing was clear. His actions were immortalized online forever. Anytime someone searched his story, they wouldn't see his face in victory. They'd see him crumpled in the corner of an elevator, taken down by the very woman he thought would be easy prey. As the months went on, people continued to revisit the clip, not for its controversy, but for its message. Even fitness studios started using it as an example of why self-defense training is invaluable. A few martial arts schools in Beijing even reported higher enrollment after the video's release, with women citing Du Chao as their inspiration. What began as one man's disgusting act turned into motivation for thousands to learn how to protect themselves. In an interview months later, Du Chao reflected on the moment with calm wisdom. "I didn't want to fight. I never go looking for it. But sometimes you don't get to choose. He made a choice for me, and I answered." Her words resonated deeply. This wasn't about violence for the sake of violence. It was about self-preservation, about reclaiming control when someone tried to take it away. And the ending? Well, it couldn't have been scripted better. The woman left the elevator with dignity intact, walking away from the man she had just floored. He, meanwhile, sat in shame, probably nursing bruises far deeper than the ones on his skin, because humiliation lasts much longer than pain. For those watching, the lesson was clear. You never know who you're messing with. That quiet stranger, that petite woman scrolling on her phone, that person you think looks defenseless, they might just be stronger, faster, and far more prepared than you could ever imagine. So, whether the world wants to call it real or staged, the truth is this. It struck a nerve. It showed millions that silence doesn't have to be the end of the story. Sometimes, the ending comes with a fist, a kick, and a reminder that no one has the right to your body or your space. And in that elevator, on that day, justice didn't come from a courtroom or a long investigation. Justice came in 4 swift moves, delivered by a woman who simply refused to be a victim.